Thank you for the introduction. So I'm Akira from Cryptography and the Security Group of Department of Computer Science. So in this talk, since time is limited, I won't be able to go into much detail of the technical part of my PhD project. Instead, I'll try focusing on the context or motivation behind my research. This means that I'm going to start from very basics. So I believe the contents should be accessible to non-cryptographers. Although my PhD project is spanning different areas, it's recently revolving around the so-called post-quantum cryptography. So in this talk, I'm going to put more emphasis on this topic. So let's quickly go over digital signatures and post-quantum crypto. So first of all, you might have heard of public key cryptography. If not, that's also fine. The high-level idea is not very complicated. In public key cryptography, you first generate an asymmetric key pair consisting of two parts. The first part is called the public key, which, as the name indicates, can be made public. On the other hand, the other part is called private or secret key that should be only held by you. So you're not supposed to disclose the secret key part. So in the case of encryption scheme, anyone in the world can encrypt whatever message they like to produce a ciphertext, but this can only be decrypted by you. So of course, the goal of encryption scheme is to achieve secrecy or confidentiality. On the other hand, digital signature schemes achieve authenticity of the message. So let's take a closer look. So here, there are two parties, Alice and Bob. Alice is a signer holding her secret key. Whenever Alice wants to sign some message, she uses her secret key to produce a signature. And this signed message can be verified by Bob, who knows the corresponding public key of Alice. The verification algorithm outputs either 0 or 1, indicating whether the signature on the message is valid or not. So there are a couple of formal properties that secure digital signatures must satisfy. So of course, it should have a correctness, meaning that Alice is honestly signing the message. The resulting signature should be always valid. The more challenged part is unforgeability, which essentially says without knowing the correct secret key, it must be computationally hard to produce a valid signature. So believe it or not, as long as you are using the internet, you're most likely relying on digital signatures without noticing, since it's a central part of many real-world protocols like HTTPS, SSH, blockchain, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what are the most widely deployed signatures? The first one, which is probably the most famous scheme, is called RSA. So in this scheme, you first generate the two big prime numbers, P and Q, and multiply them together. The security of RSA essentially relies on hardness of factoring such a large composite number. The other one is called ECDSA, which is an abbreviation of elliptic curve digital signature algorithm. So in this scheme, you work with some algebraic cyclic group of large prime order. The secret key is some random integer x, and the public key is g to the x, where g is a generator of the cyclic group. In this scheme, the security relies on hardness of finding x, given only g to the x. So again, I'm not gonna explain internals of those algorithms. The thing is, they are playing an essential role in today's internet, and we believe that there's no polynomial time algorithm that can break these hardness assumptions. However, this belief only holds in the classical world. So what about in the quantum world where quantum computer exists? So it is well known that in 1994, Peter Shor proposed the quantum algorithms that can solve integer factorization and discrete log problems in polynomial time. So essentially, currently deployed schemes like RSA and ECDSA won't retain their security anymore once a universal gate quantum computer is realized. But it doesn't mean that RSA and ECDSA are useless because at the moment, the largest successfully factored number by a quantum computer is like 21. So we don't really know when exactly a real-world quantum computer becomes powerful enough to to actually threaten RSA and ECDSA. But this sparked cryptographers' interest. So over the last couple of decades, they have been actively researching the so-called post-quantum alternatives to prepare for the arrival of the quantum computing era. Then 5 years ago, the National Institute of Standards and Technology in the US decided to have a competition to select post-quantum crypto algorithms to be standardized. Then the competition consists of several rounds, each of which essentially filters out the most promising candidates in order to eventually select few standardized schemes. So right now we are in the middle of round 3, where 6 candidates are competing with each other. I want to show you a very high-level ideas of the state-of-the-art techniques to achieve post-quantum signature candidates. So for round 3, NIST selected 3 finalists and 3 alternates. They say 1 or 2 of the finalists will be standardized, and the alternates should go through another round. These candidates can be essentially categorized into 3 types by the computational hardness assumptions: Lattice, the one-way function, and the multivariate systems. So there are also a few other ways to achieve post-quantum crypto, but unfortunately, they didn't make it to round 3. So first, lattice-based crypto is arguably the most popular and active research area of post-quantum crypto nowadays, since it tends to be fairly efficient and security has been studied very extensively. Lattice informally periodic grid of points in Euclidean space. So this picture is the simplest example of 2-dimensional lattice generated by 2 linearly independent basis vectors v1 and v2. So you should actually picture in mind for cryptographic purposes, lattice is actually usually several hundreds or even thousands of dimensions. So this is just for giving you some intuition. So what about the hard problem? There are many lattice problems that are conjectured to be hard, but one of the simplest and the most important one is an approximate shortest vector problems. So in this problem, you are given a basis of lattice L and asked to find a short vector B. To measure the shortness in practice, we use the Euclidean normal B. So that's the lattice-based crypto. The second approach to post-quantum crypto is to use some one-way function. So one-way function is the most fundamental tool in cryptography, used literally everywhere. As the name indicates, the function can be only computed to one direction. You should be able to compute f of x efficiently, while its preimage x is hard to compute given just f of x. So there are tons of instantiations of one-way functions, but the ones relevant to post-quantum signatures often involve no number theoretic operations, as opposed to discrete log or RSA-based instantiations. For example, AES block cipher or SHA-3 hash functions are used to achieve some post-quantum signature candidates, and these are actually symmetric key primitives, which have been studied for many years. And in fact, inverting these functions are conjectured to be hard, even given a quantum computer. In fact, the third type of assumption, multivariate systems, can also be seen as an instantiation of one-way function, although it does have some algebraic structure. So that was a very quick overview of post-quantum assumptions. So now, what are the current challenges of post-quantum crypto, or what kind of interesting research questions are there? So there are several aspects. So of course, security is by far the most important factor. The security proof is often given by contradiction as follows. So if you're an attacker, A breaks scheme S in polynomial time, then a supposedly hard problem P can be broken in polynomial time as well, using this adversary A as a subroutine. So essentially, all of the promising candidates come with such a proof. And whenever you see some new crypto system, the first thing you should do is to check whether it has a security proof or not. If there's no proof, then please don't use it. So moreover, you also have to check the validity of underlying computational hardness assumption in presence of quantum adversities. On the other hand, efficiency of the proposed scheme is also crucial. Even if you design an extremely secure algorithm that can resist a quantum computer with millions of qubits, it's useless if signing or verification takes forever, or a key size or a signature size hundreds of gigabytes or something. So, but thanks to the active research over the last decade and the recent competition, these questions have been answered relatively well. So now we are relatively confident that some schemes are both secure and reasonably efficient. However, before deploying them under real-life conditions, you still need to bridge the gap between theoretical attacker model and practical attack against the implementations. So concretely, we must consider a risk of cytochannel attacks as well as suitable countermeasures, which I'm explaining in the next slide. Or we may want more advanced features rather than just being able to produce a signature. So these are relatively new questions and that haven't been answered to satisfactory level yet. So my PhD project actually revolves around the latter two aspects. Okay, so what is a cytochannel attack? Suppose an internal state of Alice signing operation is partially leaked for some unexpected reasons. For example, depending on the secret intermediate state, the timing of signing algorithm might be different. So in such a case, an efficient attack might be actually feasible. So concretely, Alice's secret signing key can be stolen even without solving the hard problem. So these have been there have been a bunch of attacks that exploit cytochannel leakage of signature generation and successfully extract the secret key. So we must provide some countermeasure that protects us against the cytochannel attackers. Yeah, so that's an attacker. So one most plausible way is called masking. So in this countermeasure, Alice splits her secret key into different secret shares such that they sum up to secret key SK. Then all the sensitive operations are carried out on these secret shared values. So with this countermeasure, we can actually prove that the algorithm is secure even if a cytochannel attacker learns up to some bounded number of internal states, because these revealed values or shares are independent of the actual secret. So this is one countermeasure that I've been studying in a couple of projects. Okay, so that's cytochannel security. What about the advanced functionalities? So one feature that I've been studying is distributed signing. So this is actually somewhat analogous to the masking countermeasure. So here there's a single secret key, SK, but neither Alice or Bob knows the secret key. Instead, they receive each share of the secret key. Then they first agree on the message to be signed, and after some interaction, they collaboratively generate a signature. So distributed signing protocols have an interesting security property. So suppose Bob's secret key share is corrupted by some attacker. Then the attacker queries Alice with some message and tries to forge a signature. But you can actually prove that it is computationally hard to create a forgery. So this is why distributed signature is useful for mitigating the risk of losing a secret key. So that's related to another project of mine. Okay, so yeah, to conclude, post-quantum crypto is a very active research area, and there are still a lot of open questions that should be tackled. And I would recommend checking out the NIST competition to see what the next generation security of the internet looks like. All right, so that's it from me. Thank you very much for your attention. If you are interested in the details of my works, please check out my website.
And one remark is that there's even a stronger case to work on post-quantum cryptography, I think, because we are currently already encoding a lot of messages. And all the messages that are accumulated now can be broken later, maybe. So we should really start encoding with stronger schemes right now, even if it does not yet exist.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So actually, such a security property is called fault secrecy. So even if there's some powerful computer that can break some old ciphertext, somehow we must be able to retain the security. But of course, most of the previous ciphertext that was encrypted by a classical scheme are not secure in that sense. So you're totally right about that.